starts to sing the same song as always, and at this point I'm like, man, he can't finish this song to save his life. I don't think we ever get a full rendition of this song because it keeps stopping.
5, 6, 7, 8.
There's no business like show business.
Mamma mia, here I go again. My
Of the music
I can now say I have seen all 3 versions of this movie, except for
the
actually,
original.
That's not true because there is a non-musical version. Yeah, the original.
Yeah. I have still only seen the 2 because I've refused to watch the 2018 version until we do it. Just to give you the opportunity of having seen a movie that I have not seen for once.
It doesn't happen very often.
This
was
a product of its time.
I have so many notes during this where I'm like, wow, editing is so different.
Yes,
now.
the pacing was crazy.
And some of that is an ego thing.
Yeah.
Like one song in particular, I'm like, I would have cut away from this and made this a montage. Yeah. And then I saw in my trivia, there was like, oh no, they would only do this if this was a one take,
close up,
like full. Also, the Vaselining on the lens.
It was glossy.
We had a soft focus for
a lot of it. There was a lot of profiles.
A lot.
There was a lot of silhouettes.
It was a product of its time. Yes. 1976.
Yes, deep 70s. This really felt like, I'll get to it. There's one point in particular where I felt this, but it felt like a lot of this added texture without adding content.
That's what a lot of reviewers said.
Really?
Well.
I was like, this is just a vibe, this is a mood, and I'm not really, like, this is me eating a bag of chips. I'm not actually getting a nutritious meal here.
Here's the thing. We weren't there for the 70s.
No.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. Welcome back to the podcast. Welcome back to 5, 6, 7, 8, a movie musical podcast. Woo. We are your chaotic co-hosts, and we are doing the 1976 A Star Is Born, starring Barbra Streisand, Kris Kristofferson, and not Elvis Presley, and Gary Busey
showed up.
I was not prepared for Gary Busey to show up. Yeah, this movie made me realize I really don't know enough about the 1970s music scene to make a informed critical analysis of it. So you're just getting my uninformed opinions.
Yeah.
And what is that if not a podcast?
Truly.
Before we start this, I will say, like, so we have done one iteration of this, and truly all I remember of the Judy Garland one is you can't Uno reverse the ocean. You can't Uno reverse the ocean. I don't remember. And here's the thing. Okay, now having seen all 3, they're not faithful reincarnations of them. Like, as I was watching this one, because I don't remember anything about the Judy Garland one, but I do remember enough about the Lady Gaga Bradley Cooper one. I'm like, okay, there's like the template is the same. But the actual events and, like, the worlds do change with the times. Like, this is very much a love letter to the 70s. Yes. It was, like, contemporary when they made it.
Well, and they changed this to being a singer as opposed to an actor, which the first 2 movies, the 1937 and then the Judy Garland one, those were both about an actor being an up-and-coming and, like, the Academy Awards and all of that, whereas this one and the Lady Gaga one are both about getting into the music industry and its Grammys and all of that. So there was a shift with this one because, of course, Miss Barbara wanted to sing more. Yeah, and you let her She can do whatever she wants, and she did.
She can do whatever the fuck she wants. Okay, so we start this film at a concert full of a rowdy crowd because the performer is more than 2 hours late.
Which is crazy. I don't know that I would still be there. But the thing that did get me is, like, the announcer that's trying to, like, manage the rowdiness of the absolutely, like, understandable rowdiness of the crowd. He's like, we can't begin the show until everyone is seated. And I'm like, what? At a concert? What is this, a middle school auditorium? What do you mean?
we can't get sidetracked this earlier in the podcast, but I do find it so odd when you like go to a concert and it's a mix of people sitting and standing. Yeah. And it's like commit to one. Yeah. But anyway, the crowd's getting rowdy. The performance 2 hours late. Someone sets off fireworks in the crowd, but the rock star appears.
Yes.
And it is Kris Kristofferson, a famous and self-destructive rock star named John Norman Howard.
Yes.
He is of the band called
Speedway.
Yes. His manager, or his tour manager, played by Gary Busey, is like, where the fuck were you? And I'm like, all right, we didn't have cell phones.
Yeah.
They didn't know where he was.
Couldn't find him.
He showed up 2 hours late to his own concert.
Oops.
Couldn't get him. They gave him coke to like get him,
boost him,
set.
Yeah. Trigger warning, there's a lot of drug use and alcoholism in this, and I'll add that to the notes as well.
The language was also just a lot rougher than I expected. I guess I was like, whoa, this came out in 1976, and we are 5 minutes in, and I've seen coke and whiskey and people saying fuck, and I'm like, hell yeah. But also,
this was rated R, yeah? I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So, but he goes on stage. He is definitely impaired. Several different things going on in his system.
Oh no, I've been impaled.
Oh no. But he starts to sing his most famous song, which is called Watch Closely Now, and is sort of stumbling his way through the song, but then about halfway through fully forgets the lyrics, and like his bandmate is trying to cue him. The audience is getting pissed because it's like, this is the refrain, like this is the thing, like what do you mean you don't know it?
This is your song.
This is your song. Though to be
song.
fair, I did go to see Ed Sheeran, and he did forget the song, or forget the lyrics to Galway Girl, and I was like, that's fine. You know, it is one of your faster songs, but he's just like, this is in fact...
I was gonna say, that's a wordy one.
Yeah, he was like in Wellington, and then he was just like, this is in fact my worst nightmare. Does anyone here know the lyrics and want to hop on stage and sing with me? So he brought up like a 10-year-old girl who sang the lyrics with him. Aww. It was adorable. It was a great way to manage that situation. But also, I do not think that Ed Sheeran was deeply crossfaded. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, he does not do that. He takes off his shirt and puts on a weird mask instead. So...
Yeah, and then there's another song. And this is the first time where I'm like, man, we had a different editing style. Because these are just two full
songs back-to-back, 3 minutes each. Like, a lot.
Yeah, and I'm like, did we need to see both of these?
Nah.
No? Also, this is when I realized I confuse Kris Kristofferson with Stellan Skarsgård.
Oh.
Very different actors.
Very different people. I actually go into Kris Kristofferson and his whole deal. Very interesting person, and like very deep in the music industry, to the point where when I went through his biography, they did not mention this movie because it so was not important to his life. So I'll talk about him because we went through Barbra already on Hello Dolly. So if you want a little bit more background on her, you can go listen to that.
The concert ends
so
or
quickly.
He just straight up
I think he leaves after only doing
car.
a couple of songs. There's a groupie there that's like,
I
can give you adrenaline. And I was like, straight adrenaline? That's crazy.
Straight adrenaline. Because he's tired. He's exhausted.
Yeah.
And he admits, like, the performance was shit tonight. They go to a
hasn't been
hotel.
Sleeping.
His poor manager, like, everyone gets out of the limo. And they're like, all right, John, come on. He's like, no, I want to go boogie. And Bobby, Gary Busey, his tour manager, is like, no, tomorrow is a big show. You can't blow this deal.
Up like a bunch of shows in a row.
He's already kind of on the decline, and they're trying to like pull him up. And he's like, no, I want to go out. Take me out to the driver.
Yeah.
So he goes to a bar lounge. And he like tries to be incognito, and immediately people are like, holy fucking shit, that's John Howard.
Yeah.
And that's where we see Babs.
So we see Esther Hoffman, who is singing with her background singers. She starts singing the song Queen Bee. And during her set, John is like making a ruckus. He falls down some stairs, and this is the first time that she sees him, and she does laugh in the middle of her song a little bit. Then he goes to sit down, and then we get this waiter. I love her. She is doing her job and is being deeply inconvenienced. So she goes up to him and is like,
by this man,
crouching down like a waiter does whenever there's a show during like a dinner service, and you kind of like try to make sure that you're not blocking anyone's views. And she's like, okay, wine, beer, or herbal tea. And he is deeply flummoxed by these options because he has like a brown bag liquor bottle with him, and he's like, that's it? And she's like, that is it. And you cannot drink this here. We do not have a license for hard liquor. And he's like, well, I'll just...
You can't bring in outside drinks.
And he's like, well, I'll just drink this and no one will know. And she's like, we will lose our license.
No.
Like, she's so, like, I cannot do this.
She's like, I don't care that you're famous.
I will lose my job. And I just loved her so much. But she keeps having this argument with him because she refuses to let this man, like, just do whatever he wants. And he just keeps talking, and Esther is just so pissed because he's talking over. She keeps trying to, like, out-sing him, but he's like, right front and center until eventually, right at the end of the song, she, like, walks down off the stage for her final note and then shoves her microphone in his face and, like, catches him arguing with this waiter.
And she tells him he's blowing her act.
Yeah, exactly. So he, like, apologizes and orders, like, herbal tea or whatever, and then she goes back to continue her set.
Yeah, she sings a new song called Everything, and now a different, like, a fan and his girlfriend come and sit at at John's table, and this is when she's like, oh, I think this guy might be famous.
Yes.
Maybe she recognizes him and then processes he's famous.
Yeah.
But anyway, a fan comes and sits at his table and, like, will not leave him alone. And Esther's killing this song.
Yeah.
And he's, like, very much enamored by her performance, and the fan won't leave him alone. He's like, come on, my guy, I'm trying to, like...
She's singing,
she's talking. Yeah. She's singing. And the guy's like, I don't want to hear this shit. I want to hear you sing. In fact, my girlfriend here bought every one of your albums. And the girlfriend's like, okay. Like, the girlfriend's not
about this at all.
Ultimately, John just turns around and punches the guy because he's being really antagonistic.
He's being antagonistic, and I think he, like, insults Esther as well.
Yes.
And so that's when John punches him. And then, like, this huge fight breaks out.
Pops off.
It's a little bit of a Rex Tavern. And then...
It is a little bit of a Rex
Just a little wee one. And basically then the guy who runs the bar is just like, all right, everyone out, pay your bill at the door. Like, we have to close for the night. Like, I'm not dealing with this. I don't want you to break any more of my furniture. Get the fuck out. And Esther is escaping out the back and grabs John and is like, here, come out the back. And so...
Back exit.
And so they end up going out the back, and he has his, like, limo there. She calls
his
it a
chauffeur
hearse.
Is there.
Yeah. And he brings her in. He's like, no, I'll give you a ride. And eventually, because, like, everyone who's leaving from the front is coming around because they see this really fancy car, so they're, like, starting to come around as, like, a mob kind of. And so they get into the car and they drive off as, like, this mob of people sort of... It doesn't really chase the car, but it's, like, a little bit weird.
But also groupies.
Yeah, it's weird.
And once they're in the car and driving through Los Angeles, she gives her address to the driver, and John, as they're driving, like, compliments her singing. He's like, you've got a really good voice.
Big hard eyes. Like, it's kind of instantly enamored with her.
He gives her shit that she, like, keeps changing the subject if she's getting nervous or whatever. But he drops her off, asks if she's married. He's like, can I come in? And she's like, no. But you can come back for breakfast.
Yes.
I'll make sausage and beer and something, like beef and eggs or something.
Well, and it's like 4 a.m, so he's like, I'll be back at 6, and she's like, be back at 7. So he just sleeps in the car outside of her house for 3 hours, and then his chauffeur shows up with a sausage pizza and is like, get in there, slugger. And so
honestly, probably the most sleep he's gotten in weeks.
Truly. And so he goes in, and they have a little bit of a chat, and he also calls his manager, or Bobby or something, I think, from her house, and he's like, I'll be there, by the way, I'm bringing a guest. And so without really ever asking her, it's just like, no, I'm gonna bring you to this concert. I want to stay around you.
I want to spend more time with you. Yeah. And he gets a little bit of her backstory. She's been married before, she's divorced. He asks, like, oh, what went wrong with your ex-husband? And she goes, he wouldn't fight. He wouldn't fight for me. Like, if we got into an argument, he just, like, wouldn't fight
for us, yeah.
And he discovers that she writes her own songs. Yeah. And so the songs she sang at the club last night were her own, and he asks her to play him one. And she's a nervous guitar player. She's not, like... She's a singer, but she's working on her guitar, and he tells her, like, oh, your fingers aren't calloused enough. And she plays him a new song that doesn't have lyrics yet, and he listens enamored, and it's so beautiful, he falls asleep.
I did not get that scene.
Wait, you mean like you didn't have it in your version?
Yeah, this keeps happening.
What? Wait, what did you have?
So it's just them on the phone. She talks about her ex-husband, and then it has like a little bit of a thing. She does not play for him then. Like, it just cuts to them in the helicopter.
What did you watch this on?
The internet.
Okay, I watched this on HBO.
I wonder
if you had like a shorter version. I wonder what your runtime was. Can you tell me what your runtime was? Mine was like 2:29.
Okay, so you probably had like one or two more scenes.
Like a couple. Yeah. I mean, I can see why it was cut, but it was a little bit of like a little like
cute thing.
Intimate, friendly scene.
Yeah.
But cut to them arriving via chopper at a massive concert.
It's supposed to be like 50,000 people.
She is wearing a yarn crocheted beanie and cardigan, and everyone else is wearing shorts and a t-shirt because it's the desert.
Yeah.
And this I was like, wow, what is going on with these costumes? And then I learned later, this is fully Barbara's wardrobe.
Her whole wardrobe.
Wore her own clothes.
This is my fun fact. I think it's so funny.
I think it's so funny. I mean, she produced this film.
Yeah, 100%.
She can do whatever the fuck she wants.
And she did.
But anyway, his tour manager is pissed, but like, hey, you know what? John's
He arrived, thank God.
And this is the moment where I was like, I thought he was on the decline. Like, he's like fucked up a lot of concerts. There's a lot of fans.
There's a huge amount of fans here. And I mean, I think that he's like right at the start of the decline, so he's just started like not showing up for things. So I don't think that it's like fully like in decline yet. I'm not totally sure, but there's like 50,000 people at this concert.
Yeah.
There are so many loose cables on this stage. Anyway, so
and we'll come back to that later.
So
but, like, John is immediately thrown into the backstage and is like immediately given coke by his tour manager, and Esther is uncomfortable with like the blatant drug use.
Yes.
But he is immediately rushed onto stage to start performing, and he wants her backstage, so she stands there, and nobody in the tour really knows what to do with her. Yeah. So they like push a visitor badge onto her just so she doesn't get kicked out. Yeah. And he starts singing that song that he's famous for. What's it called? Like Looking at You or something?
Or what's I was like, what's going on? That's not it. It's
What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening.
It is Watch Closely Now.
Watch Closely Now. And so the lyrics are like, are you watching me?
Yes.
And he fully sings the song to her off stage.
Yeah.
And
like walks over to her, so like
to her.
Not focusing on the massive amount of people that paid to be there.
No.
And then like
he tries to like bring her out on stage.
Yeah.
And she's like, absolutely not. This is not my show.
Under no circumstances. And so she ends up getting freaked out because he's getting more insistent. And so she runs off, like leaves, and she
doesn't know this man very well.
I don't know you, my guy. We had pizza. We met 12 hours ago. So she runs off, and he follows her, and there's like a bunch of fans and groupies like right off the backstage, which is crazy. And then this guy is there, and he's like, I love your work, and he's there with a motorcycle. It's like, why is your motorcycle backstage?
How did this get backstage?
Anyway,
because it was the 70s.
It was the 70s.
We didn't have seatbelts. Like, safety wasn't a concern.
I thought we did have seatbelts. Anyway,
when were seatbelts?
I thought those were in the 60s.
Put into cars.
Yeah.
They were first offered. They weren't made mandatory until 68.
Okay. We've recently had seatbelts.
For the 70s. Yeah, we recently had seatbelts. Safety is still not a concern.
Yes. So there's a dude with a motorcycle who loves him, and he's like, oh, this is a nice bike. And he's like, it's yours, and just like gives him the keys. And so he gets on the motorbike, drives up on the stage, and is like starts doing like donuts.
And remember those wires we talked about?
That were just straight up crazy. Hazard for just walking. And then this dude decides to drive a motorcycle on it, and he's not good at it. And he straight up falls off the stage and isn't injured, but like is a little bit injured. I think he like sprains his wrist or something.
He's a little bit injured. Here's the thing. Yeah, he fucks up his wrist. Here's the thing. We see Kris Kristofferson on a motorcycle twice in this film. Neither time he is good at driving them, and I'm like,
neither time does he
feels
stay
like something
on
you
it.
shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, neither time, and I'm like, this is This character needs to not be near motorcycles.
No, not allowed.
He doesn't get better.
You've lost your privileges.
Yeah. Anyway, he crashes off the stage. An
so
ambulance is called.
canceled.
And again, speaking of concert MCs doing their jobs, he's like, nobody was injured. Everybody be calm. Also, please let the stretcher through.
Yeah, exactly. Doing your job. So they get him off. He's in an ambulance. Everyone else leaves in the helicopter, and everyone has fully forgot about Esther because they don't know her.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
she's just kind of left alone at this place.
She's left behind.
Yeah. Ugh.
Poor gal.
Poor gal.
Cut to John's mansion in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
He's like surrounded by his entire team. His manager, his agent, his lawyer, his tour manager, and they're all talking about like, okay, like that concert was a disaster. Here's how we're going to like alleviate the damage, and we're going to get you on the Indian Relief Fund concert, and like,
and it's been
we're
a
already
couple
kind of
weeks.
scraping the barrel of available offers. Like, the tide's starting to turn against you, and all John cares about is, have you heard from Esther?
Yes.
Apparently he's called her a bunch.
He sent
but
Bobby
none
around
of
to
his
her
teams-
house. Apparently,
Yeah, but we don't know if Bobby
unclear if Bobby
actually
actually went.
did
I
that.
didn't get the vibe that he did. He's like, yeah, she wasn't home.
Yeah. Yeah. Just then, speaking of safety wasn't a concern, a helicopter with, like, that's not piloted by, but in the passenger seat is a radio DJ named BB Jesus.
Yeah.
Like,
BB Jesus,
hovers
yeah.
over the house. Baby Jesus, sorry. Hovers over the pool to, like, invite John Howard to, like, come and do an interview.
Yeah.
And instead, John takes someone handgun
and just shoots at
the
it
helicopter.
in the middle of LA. My guy.
And the DJ's like, y'all never play your songs again.
Yeah. It's
Man, fuck this DJ.
fuck this
I
DJ
hated
in
this
particular,
guy.
and he keeps showing back up.
He
And fuck this guy.
sucks. Yeah.
So later,
Oh my God.
John, obviously sent by his PR team, goes to the radio station of this DJ, and as he walks in the background, we see Esther and her two background singers who have been brought in to do like a commercial jingle or something.
Yeah, they're recording
And
a commercial.
they're not doing
jingle.
well. They get a thank you for your time. And so
Yeah, they get cut.
yeah. But so he goes into the DJ with like a box of like what, Jameson or something? Like a box of
It's
bottles.
Jack Daniels.
Jack Daniels.
But we see a moment where like Esther's back is turned as John walks by. So they're in the same space, but they
Neither
don't
of
know
them
the
have
other
seen
one
each
is
other
there.
yet.
But you're right. John brings a case of Jack Daniels to baby Jesus and like apologizes, but doesn't really. He's just like, here's whiskey, like as an apology. And the disc jockey, the baby Jesus refuses to accept John's apology, and in fact goes on the air to be like, I'm not gonna name him, but a rude, joyless, burnt out, spoiled pain in the ass rock star is here, tried to apologize, and I won't accept it. We're bored of you.
Yeah.
And in rage, John throws the case of Jack Daniels through the like glass
Through the glass window, yeah.
this window.
Now, it's after a lot of abuse, to be fair. This guy's being a total dick
Baby
about
Jesus
it.
Sucks.
And like I think he did. I felt personally that how he played it, at least whenever he came to apologize, it was a little bit of a genuine apology. It could have been a better apology, but I did feel like it was genuine. And instead of, you know, any sort of graciousness while you're at work, he like was really laying into him, and I do not approve of throwing a box of whiskey through a glass pane, but I was also just like,
no,
he was
that's
being a
very
dick.
dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So bad behavior on both sides is what I'm saying.
Yes. Like, baby Jesus was intentionally antagonistic.
Yes.
And while I don't support throwing a case of Jack Daniels through a glass window, it's not a surprise that John reacted negatively.
Yeah, exactly. But as he's leaving, he runs into Esther as she is leaving the radio station, and
she doesn't want anything
to do with him. And he's like, I've been trying to find you. And she's like, I've been right where I've been the whole time. I tried to call you a couple of times. And he was like, well, you have to call my manager, who then calls my PR person, who then hands me a folder every other Tuesday. And then I hand it to someone else who then tells me whether or not I should call anyone back. And also I change my phone number every 6 weeks. Why weren't you able to get a hold of me?
He's like, I'm hard to reach. I'm sorry.
Yes.
But also, I've been calling you.
Yes.
He also says he doesn't want to lose her again.
Yes. She ends up agreeing to come back to his place, right? We just cut to his mansion.
Yeah. He takes her. I mean, he's showing off a little bit. Like, they pull up and, like, she's probably not ever been to a Hollywood Hills mansion.
No.
And oh boy, is it a mansion.
And a mess. So he has like a half-built recording studio in there. He has, oh boy, the waterbed. Oof.
The waterbed!
That thing was jiggling.
All caps went, oh no, a waterbed. I went down a rabbit hole of like, we don't make waterbeds anymore. Why were they popular? And apparently what I read was they were like, honestly, one of the best night's sleep you could get, very hard to have sex on.
Yes, that is all, yeah, 100%. But one thing he does do, which Kris Kristofferson straight up does, which I thought was very impressive. So he spray paints her name on the wall, but he does it in cursive backwards. So he starts with the R and then ends with this massive E on the wall. And I was like, Grace, genuinely impressed. That's crazy.
Yeah. If put me on the spot and ask me to spell someone's name backwards that's not my own.
Yeah.
I'm going to second guess myself.
In cursive.
And I only say that because my name's a palindrome.
Yeah. Listen, if I was asked to write your name in cursive backwards, regardless of the fact that it's easy to spell, I would fuck it up.
Cursive backwards?
No.
And he did it in one take. I guess, honestly, that feels like a special skill that he just had, and they were like, we're going to do this. Anyway, I do want to also point out, she is dressed like a court jester.
I do not remember
She has
this
this
outfit.
There were a lot of crazy outfits, but she has like a long white tunic, white leggings, knee-high boots, like belt cinched at the waist.
Oh, yes, I do remember.
You are a court jester.
Yes. Ding-a-ling-a-ling, yes.
She finds his piano and she plays him a song. She just starts fucking around, and she starts to play a song that she's working on that she doesn't have lyrics for, and he makes up some lyrics on the spot, and she's impressed by the fact. She's like, I don't think anyone could sing that's better than anything I came up with. And then we get face touching time.
They touch each other.
They touch
so much. She kisses his shoulder more than she kisses his face at any point.
Both of their love languages is physical touch.
100%.
In this film.
Yes.
And I say this because this exact shot happens later in the film as well, but like it's a shot of her and his fingers are just like on her face.
Don't do that.
It's face touching time.
Yeah.
And then they kiss.
And then they have sex, and then they're in a bubble bath together. And my first question was, who lit these candles? Was it you?
I was like, we have found the Phantom's candles.
Phantom? $30,000 budget on candles. And I'm like, who went around? Was it you, Esther? Did you do this? Or was it the rock star? Which one did it? Because I don't think that either of you did that.
No. They got in the tub and then some production
assistant waiter
lit all the candles. Did you notice that every single candle was either on a beer can or in a wine bottle?
Yep.
Because I didn't at first. My partner was watching this with me, and I was immediately like, oh my god, it's the Phantom's candles. And then he pointed out, did you notice the beer cans?
Yeah, they were all in alcohol bottles.
Yeah.
Yes. This was the moment where I started being like, this is a lot of texture and no substance. This is where it began, and then it really just continued from here.
70s.
Yeah.
Question, did you have the next scene where in front of a roaring fire, he makes her practice guitar?
Yes, and she's a little bit snippy with him.
You had that, okay. Yeah, okay, because now I'm like, did they just cut out the subplot of her learning guitar? But you had that scene.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
But that was the first time I'd seen her with a guitar.
After that, we cut to the recording studio where a bit of like rock star boyfriend behavior. He's like, you can just record on my band's time.
It'll
and
be
his entire
fine.
production team is like,
No. What?
And
No.
Bobby, Gary Busey,
Yes.
doesn't like Esther because when she's there, John's not working on his own music. John's focus is 100% on her.
Yes.
And Esther, to her credit, turns around and she's like, I'm good for him.
Yes. He's not drinking.
He is getting sober. Yeah, he doesn't need downers to sleep.
Yeah.
And Bobby's like,
He's not
that's
working.
the kind of John I need to make music, though.
Yeah.
Like, Bobby is very much an enabler in this entire film.
100%.
Every single time.
Especially right
he
at the
sees
end.
John.
Oh my God. That was wild.
It's straight up, before even saying hello, it's just like, here's some cocaine.
Yeah.
But anyway, Esther's not vibing with the musicians.
Yeah, because it's a whole different vibe. Like, his vibe feels very, like, 70s rock star, and she does feel like the beginning of 80s pop music, like pop synth, like power ballads is her vibe.
Yes.
And she's like, I don't, this sort of like style, I'm not feeling it. I really am feeling like I want something that's a bit more sweeping, almost classical feeling. This is just not the vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And so they come back the next day and re-record with like some people that are more of her vibe. And then we get the song Evergreen, which was done, I think, in one take and sung live because
Babs doesn't like
lip syncing.
Lip syncing, that's the
Yes.
word.
And Kris Kristofferson was not happy about it. He didn't have a good time.
He had to be. I don't think either of them had a good time.
No, on this movie.
Because neither of them got along with the director.
Yeah.
But he also like was more nervous singing live.
Yes.
But this is again an editing note where I was like, if this film was shot today, this would have been a montage
Of her
like
building.
we would have gotten or like it was a single take of the whole song.
Yes.
Like easily 3.5 minutes.
Yes.
And if I was the editor today, I would have like had them start and then used the song to like move the plot forward.
Give us a little bit more.
And then we would have come back and like finished it, but it was just a long
But
shot.
this was the famous song from
styles change.
Yeah, this was the famous song from the show.
Yeah,
like,
this is the famous song.
Was like The Shallow of
This is what won the Oscar.
Yeah. And this will be my homework as well, just this song, because I feel like if you watch this, you'll get the entire vibe of the movie, and then you're good to go.
So I was following along with the soundtrack as I was watching, like
Yes.
the list, the set list, the song list.
Yeah.
And this song is called Evergreen.
Mm-hmm.
They say that word twice towards the end. So as they were singing this, I was like,
Is it?
Is the song?
Yeah, I know. I also had that thing where I was like, what is this? Because I was looking at the playlist for the titles of songs, because it's not this is a movie with music. This is not a musical.
Yeah.
Because of that, it doesn't have the songs don't have the same structure as a musical theater song. And so because of that, they don't always say the title of the song in the song.
You know what they never say in this film either? A Star is Born.
Never.
Anyway, cut to the next scene. Cut to the American Indian Relief Fund concert.
Yeah.
Which was the concert that was referenced when we see John in the pool surrounded by his team, where they were like, hey,
This
the
is your
concert
last
offers
shot.
are starting to get thin. Like, this is gonna be your neck. Like, this is a big concert.
Yeah.
And you can't fuck this up.
Yeah. And he does. So what he does.
Well, he does, but he doesn't.
He does, but he
doesn't
doesn't.
fuck it up in the way that he
sacrifices
got on a
his own
motorcycle.
career to promote hers. So it is a sober choice that he is making. So he gets on, he starts to sing the same song as always, and at this point I'm like, man, he can't finish this song to save his life. I don't think we ever get a full rendition of this song because it keeps stopping. Even at the end,
so funny.
whenever he like starts listening to it, he takes it out and he's like, nah, I'm okay. So he starts it, and then he's like, you don't want to listen to, like, the same old, and audiences start booing, because I think at this point...
Like, yes, we do!
Yes, we do! They start booing, because I think at this point, like, his reputation is pretty well trashed, and, like, they know that he's, like, not doing his jobs, essentially. But so what he ends up doing is that he brings out Esther. He's like, this is new, up and coming, and she's like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, you've just laid down 10 tracks with this band, like, do it now. And
he clearly planned for this because, surprise, her backup singers are there.
I know, which was nice. I did like that. Which showed a little bit of forethought. It wasn't like he had an idea and immediately acted without thinking about the consequences. This was obviously something that he
tried to
planned.
do this at the other concert, and she was like, no.
But also they had known each other for 10 hours at that point, so that makes sense for her to say no. With this one, they have a pre-established relationship. She's recorded with this band already, so she knows that they know her songs. And then he had also invited her background singers for her. And so it's like, oh, he actually thought about this and planned a thing. That's great. So.
Yeah, this is a surprise gift versus something that's being sprung on her.
Exactly.
So the audience initially boos her because they showed up to see John Howard.
Yes.
But she starts to sing the song Woman in the Moon, and she wins them over. The audience is enraptured by her because she's a phenomenal singer. John watches from the wings, so proud of her.
So proud. I do forget, and it's stupid, and I shouldn't, that how much she can holler.
Oh, yeah.
And that's on me. I shouldn't forget, but sometimes I do. And then I listened to her, and I was like, you can fucking holler. My God.
Yeah. Yeah. And this song in particular, I was like humming along, and I was like, I can't hit those notes at that belt.
Nope. She is full voicing this for everything. She doesn't need that microphone. She is a loud person. I love it. And then we get another
huge
full
applause.
song.
Yeah, and then she sings it. Then we get another full song.
This happens a lot, where you get like 2 back-to-back just full songs.
Yeah.
It was reminding me of, do you remember the weird, like, 30-minute one that we did way back when called I Am a Hotel, which was basically just, like...
How could I forget I Am a Hotel?
I Am a Hotel, which was basically just, like, it was
a music video.
Music video of an album. Yeah. It felt like that a little bit, where I was like, this is a music video of an album.
Kind of. Yeah. Editing-wise, wouldn't have done 2 songs together, but you know what? How dare I have notes how dare I say, like, I don't want to hear another Barbra Streisand song?
Critics had notes as well, so... Yeah. This is not...
I'm looking at my notes, and I go, once more, I would have cut to the next scene.
Yes, yeah. But everyone is super taken with her performance. She gets hustled off stage, and it's, like, kind of the first time...
Including John's team.
Yes, they are super on her side at this point. But it's the first time that she's kind of being harassed by the press herself and not, like, as an appendage of John. And she's a little bit overwhelmed and, like, answering questions, like, in a very blunt manner.
She has no media training.
Absolutely not. Yeah. They're like, are you going to change your name? She's like, why would I do that? Then I have to change my driver's license. I have to change my social security number. That makes no sense. And I'm like, here's a woman after my own heart. But eventually John kind of is, like, puts an arm around her and, like, hustles her out of there so she's no longer being harassed. But then I think that's where BB Jesus is there as well.
Yeah.
And he's like, you were great, Esther, but ditch the douchebag, or something like to that effect. And I'm like, hey man, mind your business.
What's your fucking deal,
what's your deal? You drove a helicopter over his house. Like, I don't think that he should have shot at you, but, like, you're also in the wrong here, my guy.
Yeah. They drive away, Esther and John, in his little red convertible. And he says, like, this was the changing point. Like, tonight was the night that, like, you became a star and, like, you are on the precipice of this and, like, the world's your oyster kind of a thing. And she goes, well, all I want to do is marry you. Yeah. And he's like, okay, but you're going to go on tour and you're going to do all this and I'll just be, like, holding you back. Yeah. Yeah. And she's like, no, I want to marry you. And so they get married at City Hall.
They go to a courthouse and she has in her hair all of these, like, white dots all over.
It's baby's breath. She has baby's
flowers?
breath in her hair.
Okay.
It's baby's breath, yeah.
Okay, I couldn't quite tell on the screen that I was watching on, and I was like, did she bedazzle her hair? I was so good.
She kind of did.
Are those
flowers.
Pearls? I was like, what is happening?
That would have been pretty. Her hair
is a character.
In itself, and it is just round.
Yes. Very round.
That was anyway, they get married quick and dirty at City Hall.
At, like, the
and
courthouse.
They drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That person, I really
like...
appreciate. That's our second waiter, is the woman who was marrying them. Where she's like, I'm already breaking the rules by letting you do this outside. We should be in my office. I can't do the longer thing. I'm just gonna ask if you want to get married and then call you husband and wife, push a box of chocolates into your hand, and then go back to work.
No, it's not a box of chocolates. It's like a honeymoon gift box.
From the government?
That's got, like, yes, it's like a little, because that's what they're going through as they drive
Oh, is that what that
to the Southwest. Yes, there's like baby wipes and hand sanitizer and like strawberry douche.
From the government.
From the government.
Your tax
dollars at work. Anyway, they drive in the car to the Southwest where John has property for like a quick little honeymoon.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm taking you to my ranch. It's just land.
Straight up.
She's
just
like, where's
land.
the house? And he's like, I haven't built it yet.
And then they like start making out, and I'm like, are they gonna fuck in this field? That's so.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's like, wait, let me get a blanket. And she's like, I don't care.
He's like, this is bad. Also, where are you gonna sleep? It gets cold on the plains at night.
It gets cold? I don't know. They build a house together.
Okay.
No, okay.
This is both my gripe and my giggle. So, this is the funniest thing in the world, and it makes no sense. Because all we see are them, just the two of them, no other contractors, like, quote unquote, breaking ground with a tractor, not any sort of actual construction equipment.
No, they get a bulldozer.
Eventually.
Even worse, they get a bulldozer and they get a crane. And I'm like, you don't have licenses to do that.
Also, with what money? Aren't you $180,000 in debt, my guy?
Yeah. The 70s were, listen, as someone who has done a lot of research of like building the kind of house that they build, which is very much like, it's not an earth ship, but it's like clearly built yeah, it's like very Southwest. I'm just like, houses don't get built that quickly. Even if you try to build it yourself, permits.
Where's your electricity? Where's your running water? Let's talk about indoor plumbing.
We never see them running any kind of like wiring or piping. It's just building
it's just
a house
them
and then surprise
they
have a
house on top of farm equipment
so quickly.
And then suddenly
the
it is a fully built house and fully decorated. It's crazy. Yeah. I watched this just being like, this is the montage? I needed actually more of this. I have questions.
This is the plot point we montage. Anyway, because here's the thing. Not a lot of time can pass because she has an amazing performance at the American Indian Relief Fund.
It's like they act that it's 2 weeks. And it's like
her like about to go on tour.
Yeah. That house would have taken minimum 6 months with a team.
Yeah. Not the two of you, neither of whom are like
neither of you have training.
Craftsmen.
There's no YouTube, so you can't like cite your sources. It was both my gripe and my giggle because it was so insane. It was so crazy.
I'm like, part of me is like shaky sweaters, but I'm like, no, this is the thread
I would pull this thread. I have questions because I feel like if I touched a wall, the entire thing will fall apart.
Anyway, we cut to them in this beautifully decorated house that they've built.
Yeah.
And Esther, they're having not an argument, but like it's clearly a conversation they've had before where Esther wants John to come on tour with her. Mm-hmm. And he's like, no, it's your tour. I'm only going to slow you down. Mm-hmm. And then people are going to associate you with me even more. And I don't want to bring you down.
I'm like a poison pill kind of deal. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, I don't like that you're giving me advice on how to go on tour when you're not coming on tour with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is fair.
No, that's
and
totally
you know what
fair.
he does? He gets angry and goes and fucks around on his motorcycle again.
Yeah, and she's like trying on different clothes, and he's like, that won't look good under the lights, and she's like, well, you're not going to be there, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so how would you know?
And so he goes fucks around on his motorcycle, falls off again, pretends to be dead. She's in a fully...
Also, what a great stunt person, because that was a big flop.
That was a big flop.
Yeah.
She's in a fully white outfit. He is out in the mud. She thinks that he's like genuinely hurt himself and like knocked himself out.
Straight up dead.
And so she goes to like grab him and
make sure he's alive.
Make sure he's okay. Sorry, I just read one of my notes, which is, guys, you gotta hire people if you want to have a roof this year. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I got so distracted.
No, it's okay. They make up, and he agrees to go on tour with her. Like, that is the resolution of this fight, is he agrees to go on tour with her. And then they just ride horses in the sunset.
Sure.
Yeah. But just then, in the middle of the desert, the Mercedes arrive. And
dun, dun, dun.
So, at this point, pretty much John's entire team, his manager, his agent, his PR person, they're all hers as well. Like, they've all signed her as well. And that was part of the thing we saw backstage at the American Indian Relief Fund, was them being like, hey, I'm this person. Hey, I'm John's PR person. Just like very clearly
grab her
vultures.
While she's
But
new,
they arrive. Yeah. And Brian, John's manager, takes John like for a walk outside, essentially to be like, hey, don't go on tour with her. Yeah. She's ready to fly on her own. You're going to bring her down. You blew it. Yeah. You had a really good thing but you had a really good thing going and you blew it. You're damaged goods.
Yeah, you're done.
If you care about her, don't go on tour with her. And he's like, I do care about her, so
I won't. And I told her and I told her that I wouldn't do it anyway, and like I've tried telling her before, but I'll so he goes in and he tells her. And this is happening while she's getting like stills taken for an album or something, or some sort of press event.
It's like she's trying on clothes for the tour, and like an intern is also taking photos of her. It's not important. What's important is that she's distracted,
and this intern can't read the room.
No, but she immediately clocks. Ouch! I just scratched myself.
Oh no!
But she immediately clocks that he has changed his mind. Yeah, and he's not going to go on tour with her, and she's devastated.
Truly devastated. So she goes on tour. It's going incredibly well for her. But she is by herself, and John's, like, back at the ranch, not doing anything. At one point, they are driving together, and he drops her off at, like, a TV show or something.
Yeah, okay, so they're back in LA.
Yeah.
They're riding together. He drops her off either for, like, an interview or something, but he's like, while you're doing this, I'm going to go to the studio to meet up with my band.
Yeah.
And we're going to, like, maybe record some new stuff that I've been writing. And she's like, that's awesome. I'm so excited for you. So they part ways. And this is where we get the line. Was this in the Judy Garland one? Because it is in the Lady Gaga one. Where it's like, hey, come back. The comeback, like, I'm just taking another look at you.
I have a feeling it must have been. I don't actively remember it, and I would have to re-listen to that episode. Because I feel like we would have mentioned it if it was in there.
Yeah.
I think that I have a vague memory of it but it was earlier. It was like when they first met and she was like going into her house, like right after they first met.
Yeah, let me see.
I have a vague memory of
that. Here it is. Okay, one more look. It's probably the film's most famous line, and each version does it differently. Right. In the first one, he asks politely after their first date, do you mind if I just take one other look? Okay, the face touching is a thing as well. Okay, hold on. Okay, yeah, it's in the Judy Garland one.
Yeah. I did have
I just want to take another look at you.
Memory of that. And I know that it's in the 2018 one because it was all over their stuff, all of their trailers.
I'm going to put this as my homework because this is a really good article where it's literally like the 4 different Stars Borns and like comparing aspects of each of them.
Fun. I love that.
Okay. Anyway, John goes to the studio.
Yes. And within seconds of walking in, Bobby is shoving cocaine in his nose. It's crazy.
Yeah. He's like, oh, welcome back.
Seconds. It's wild. And like, not even like, do you want any? And I think honestly, out of like habit or reaction, he just like straight up does it without even thinking about it. But the band has a new sound. It's a bit more grungy almost. A
bit more 80s.
A bit more 80s. And John is just like, so what's going on? And they're like, we've rebranded ourselves as, what is it, like Highway or something? Freeway.
Because like, you were off with Esther.
You've been gone for months.
We weren't going to sit around.
Yeah, we have to do something. Yeah. And honestly, we're doing better now that you're not here. And John is just like, well, I just wanted to stop by and say hello. And he like tries to save face where he's just like, and
he makes up a lie.
Makes up a straight up lie. He's like, I'm like writing something new. It's a new sound. It wouldn't really fit with what you guys are doing, but I just wanted to say hi. And I found these new kids.
And I found some new artists that
they're really excited. Cool, so he leaves.
He wishes his old but he doesn't say like fuck you all and burn it to the ground. He's like, I wish my old band luck.
Yeah, and like let them know I love this new sound. I can't wait to hear more, but I'm gonna go. I have like a meeting or whatever. And then he heads back to their LA mansion.
His mansion.
Yeah.
And goes and mopes into his guitar and like starts to work on something new.
Yeah.
And he is recording himself while he is doing this, which is going to be important later, because I didn't clock that. He's got like a tape recorder going while he's just like fucking around on his guitar, and the phone rings. And the phone rings a couple times, and he's being interrupted by the phone. And one person calls and wants to, asking for Esther, and doesn't recognize John's voice and asks if he's her secretary.
Yeah.
Which he has an ego because he's a rock star.
Yeah. And also, I mean, like, I feel like I would be upset by that as well if, like, I was married to someone and I answer the phone and the first assumption is you're the secretary. It's like, no, my guy, I'm fucking not. And on top of that, him being a rock star, it really just, he's quite in a mood. But he doesn't, to be fair, he doesn't take it out on her. He keeps it really,
the person calling.
The person calling or Esther when she gets home. He keeps it really internal, and he passes on all of her messages of like, you have this in 2 days and this, and she
so
like
wait, hang on, we're
sorry,
jumping.
I jumped.
She gets home.
Yes.
She gets home, and her first thing is like, how did it go with your band? I want to hear all about your like jam session. And he tells her like, hey, you know what? It didn't work out. And he changes the subject to talk about her day, and he's like, okay, wait, before I forget, you had a bunch of messages, and he rattles them off, and he slips in there who she wants to sit at her table at the Grammys because she has been nominated for a Grammy.
Right. And then he goes off to get a drink, so he is drinking again.
And she immediately clocks that like something didn't go well today for him. Yeah.
But then we cut to the Grammy Awards.
Yep.
And she is distracted because he's not there, but it's like right as she's about
She's pissed.
Yeah, she's really angry.
She's pissed that he's not there, and she like wants to leave.
But just then her name is called. She wins for best female performance for, I can't remember which song. I think it's Evergreen. And so she goes up and she's like, you know, trying to be like a charming speech of just like, oh, I didn't think that I would win, but there's a couple of people I want to thank. And just then John shows up and he is trashed and like almost trips down the stairs, is arguing with an usher, is trying to find her table and interrupts her. And you know, she's like trying to be like, oh, and of course, like, I want to say thank you to my partner, and like tries to like get people to like give him a little bit of applause to maybe like move him, like to give a little bit of time for him to be moved to a seat, but he kind of like shuts it down and like barges up onto the stage and interrupts her speech and is just like, you shouldn't be thanking them for anything. And she ends her speech early and, like, walks off stage with him.
Yeah, and he makes a fool of himself. This is something that happens in the other films as well. Like, an iteration of this scene where she's accepting an award and he, intoxicated, comes on stage.
Yes.
Do they, off stage, they're, like, accosted by reporters and stuff?
I think he punches...
he punches Baby Jesus.
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 Because he says something bad about Esther specifically. Like, he starts insulting Esther, and so he just...
Well, he's such an instigator.
Yeah, he's
trying to get a reaction, and they're essentially, like, chased into a bathroom. They, like, get some privacy in the bathroom from this media circus. Yeah. And Esther confronts John. She's like, what? Did I do something wrong? Like, what is this behavior? Yeah. Cut to Esther recording a music video, which is essentially just like the setting for the scene or the conversation she's about to have with Brian, the manager. So she's recording a music video. They're on a break because she's having trouble getting down the stairs. And Brian visits her and she tells him, I loved this scene. She tells him like she's unhappy with John because like she's working and she like goes back on the weekends, but like it's not working and he doesn't seem to be putting in the work. And
they're
Brian's
not happy.
like, look, there's nothing. Yeah, she's like, look, there's nothing more I can do for John. She's like, no, you're being a bad friend.
Yeah,
that's
you're
bullshit.
his friend.
You can show up for him by being his friend. Don't think about the work. Don't think about his career.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Brian's like, not good. He's like, yeah, okay, I'll do that.
Because he's not his friend. He's a manager.
Yeah, and he's made him a ton of money, and he's no longer making him money anymore.
Yeah.
So cut to Brian visiting John, clearly because Esther told him to, and John sees it. He's like, this is bullshit. You don't care about me. You care about, like,
well, and because John's been writing all of this new music in this new style that's almost a little bit more country, and Brian's like, that's great. We can definitely do some of those songs, but we should also be doing your old famous songs.
Yeah, the goldies. The
goldies. And John is just like, no, that's not who I am anymore. I'm not even with that band. That band doesn't want me, and I don't feel that's not what I want to do. And if that's all that you're looking for from me, then this isn't going to work. So he turns that opportunity down.
Yeah. John also says, like, you know what, that's okay. Like, I'm thinking of starting my own label. Like, I want to be a mogul like you and live off of everybody else, which is definitely a dig.
Yeah.
Back in LA, John drives to their mansion, and he finds a half-naked young girl swimming in
young girl.
Pool.
She is a woman. She's a woman. Just to be clear about what we mean by that. She's like early 20s.
Yeah, she's early 20s, and she's an aspiring music journalist.
Yeah.
She fully broke into his house hoping to meet him. And I guess they had met initially because she was
a groupie?
With Gary. Gary was John's PR guy who we've met once or twice.
Was she the one who offered him adrenaline at the beginning? I don't know.
I think she might have been.
Okay.
Like, he's met her. She's been around.
Right.
But she's very much like using the leverage that she had with Gary for like this aspiring journalist career. Mm-hmm. And she wants an exclusive interview. And she's like, I will do anything for an exclusive interview.
Like eyebrows raised, anything.
Like Gary can tell you what I can do.
Right.
Wink, wink. But also, surprise, she wants the interview with Esther.
Which is
John.
Crazy.
So I will sleep with her husband.
I will
have an interview
make you cheat on her. I will encourage you to cheat on her.
Entice
so
you.
That I can get an interview with her. How did you...
And he's like,
ma'am,
sure, what could go wrong?
I'm going to need you to show your work. How did you get to this being a good idea? Because in no world, I'm like scooching up on my desk. In no world does this make sense. I was angry in this scene because I'm not like, obviously...
The logic is inherent.
The logic is so bad. I'm like, ma'am, what do you mean? What do you mean that this is your plan? This makes no sense.
This plan? Oh my god.
You're gonna sleep with her husband, and then she's gonna be chill to give you an exclusive interview? What do you mean?
But also the fact that he went along with it.
Yes, so he's absolutely fucked up.
That's a separate thing.
It's a separate thing. That's a different anger. This anger was the logic grace that's just like, none of that makes sense.
Yeah, no, this logic makes no sense. Also, like, when you have this interview and Esther's like, oh, how did we get this interview? What are you gonna say?
What are you gonna do?
I coerced your husband into sleeping with me?
Yeah.
Anyway, Esther arrives home and finds them in bed together. Surprise, surprise. And this is what made me the most angry. So this girl's name is Quentin. And Quentin's like, oh, let me get my tape recorder. As if after this woman finds her husband in bed with her, she's going to want to do this interview. And
nude right
John's
now.
like, no, get out. And Quentin's like, what did I do? What did I do wrong? I did my part. Girl. Shaky sweaters on the logic.
That logic was not logicking, and I was angry. Yeah, that the whole let me get my tape recorder. I'm like, bitch, you just got off her husband. What do you mean?
Dear listeners, if any of you were alive in the 70s,
if any of you were pop stars in the 70s, let us know.
I want to know if you can defend this logic.
Yeah.
I want someone to show their work.
Yeah.
And explain this logic to me. Anyway, understandably, John and Esther get in a big fucking fight.
Yeah, but he's super calm.
But they don't actually.
Yeah, he's super calm, and she's yelling and throwing things and hitting him. And honestly, like, asks him to fight, and it's reminiscent of her talking about her first ex-husband.
Her first husband that
they
wouldn't
broke up
fight.
because he wouldn't fight for her, and wouldn't fight for them. And so she just keeps
hang
yelling.
on, I want to say at the start of this, when she has a bit of a Rexa tavern where she leaves and she starts like trashing the house, and she goes, "You can trash your life, but you're not gonna trash mine." And that's where she like she's trying to get him to fight with her, and he won't engage. He walks away. He's like, I don't want to do this to you anymore. And she's like,
and he's
if
like,
you
I
walk
told
away,
you this would be a bad
I will
idea, marrying
hate you
me
forever.
Yeah.
Very self-pitying.
Yeah.
And they fight, and he says, I love you, and she says, I hate you. But they do ultimately make up?
Question
and
mark? It just didn't
Esther
feel good.
confesses she still loves him. No, it doesn't feel good.
Yeah. And I don't think it's supposed to either. But like,
No.
from a modern mindset, again, it was just, or maybe it's just me, I don't know. There are weird relationships throughout all of time, including now. But like, watching it, I was just like,
I'm not gonna say this is a healthy relationship.
no. I don't know. Watching it, I was like, Barbara, you can do so much better. Ma'am.
Barbra. But they go, and they end up going back to the ranch. Kind of like, let's get out of LA.
We were happy at the
just
ranch
the two of us.
when there's no one there. Yeah.
Yeah. And at the ranch, John has agreed to go on to like join her on tour.
Yeah.
And then John wakes Esther up because he's got to go pick up Brian from the airport, and we get the iconic nose touch moment. And Esther's like, wait, no, I'll come with you. He goes, no, go back to sleep. Like, I've got to go pick up Brian. Of course, he had to take the early flight. They have a bit of banter.
Yeah. And it's just like a really
John
relaxed morning.
Yeah.
And
we see him crack open a beer before he gets
into the car
as the sun is rising.
Yes. And he starts driving this red convertible while drinking, and he puts in his record of his most famous song, the one that he can never seem to finish. And halfway through it, once again, he takes it out and puts in one of Esther's records.
And he listens. Whether he does that, I read that as like he was sick of listening to himself.
Yeah.
Or he was bored of the song. But he starts to listen to one of Esther's songs. I don't think it's evergreen.
I don't think so either.
But he starts driving faster and faster. And these are winding country roads or desert roads. And he goes faster and faster, and then he goes over a hill, and the song fades, and the screen fades.
Yeah.
And we cut to a car crash.
Yeah.
And we cut to police chatter of, we hear the word single vehicle fatality.
Yes.
And that they say like he was going like 160 miles an hour, which I don't know how you would know that unless he crashed into somebody else, but it's not important.
Yes.
We see the wrecked car.
It is wrecked.
We see a helicopter. It's fucked.
Yeah.
And we see a helicopter arrive with Esther and Brian.
Yeah.
And she runs towards John's body underneath like the medical examiner's blanket. And she like pulls the blanket off of his face and like tries to clean the blood off his beard and like says like, he's cold, like get him another blanket. And she lays down next to him and sobs, being like, what am I supposed to do without you?
Yeah, I'm scared. I don't know what to do now. And they end up taking him away, and she ends up back at the LA mansion kind of clearing it out. And we get like...
and we hear Baby Jesus on the radio. It made me so angry.
Because he's like, one of the greats. We all loved him. Like, no one had any issues. He was one of the perfect rock stars of the age. I'm like, go fuck yourself. But we're back at the LA mansion, and she's like sort of stuck in a reverie, and she starts to hear his voice, like, and him singing and noodling on a guitar, and she like starts running through the mansion, like John, and like calling for him. And there are other people there, like clearing out the house. It's obviously that she's getting rid of the house, but she like hears him, and she runs around, and like a worker comes out with the tape recording that John had been doing earlier whenever he kept get interrupting by the phone calls of him noodling on this song and writing this new song. which was called With One More Look at You.
Yeah, and the mover's like, lady, I don't know how to
How do you turn this off?
Like, yeah. Cut to her in the now empty house, having a very justified mentee B.
Just like a tiniest crash out.
Tiny little crash out, just like sobbing that, calling him a liar and how he wasn't supposed to leave her. Like, very justified grief.
Yes, 100%. And then we cut to a memorial concert for John. She walks on stage. She's introduced with a combined last name, so Esther Hoffman Howard. And she sings the song that he was noodling on the guitar in that last recording, with One More Look at You.
Yeah.
And then she transitions into a version of his most popular song, Watch Closely Now.
And she finishes the song.
In
her own. She does it in her own style.
In her own style.
Yeah.
But it's the first time we kind of hear the full song. And then the ending is deeply abrupt. Because she finishes this song, we start to hear the applause of people, but they end it with her, like, looking up to the skies, and it just goes cut, and then another song starts playing as the credits roll. And I was like, I feel like, at least at the beginning of these credits, we should have just heard applause. Like, we heard the beginning of the applause, and it would have been nice to have that feeling of, like, an acknowledgement of the life that he did live. But it just straight cut.
We have a lot of editing notes for this film.
I know. I was like, it just felt so abrupt to me. Kind of like the ending of Sweeney Todd, where it's just like, there has to be...
Don't talk to me about
it. It was just so abrupt, and I just don't feel like there just has to be something. Anything.
That is A Star is Born 1976.
Yeah.
Oh, my days.
Yes.
Don't stop me now.
Send in the clowns.
Clowns. It'll never not be funny. Oh.
What did you think of this movie?
It was too long. And I honestly, I'm not someone who typically is like, that's weird editing. Like, that's not where my strong suits lie.
Yeah.
So the fact that it kept happening.
That we noticed when we are not editors?
Yeah.
Buddy.
Listen, Barbra Streisand, for as bad of an experience they both had, they've had great chemistry.
They had great chemistry.
Like, they sold,
100%. I thought that he did a great job of being the washed-up rock star. I thought that she did a great job of being the new pop person. It was, again, the pacing, which is, what we were talking about. It's just felt very dated to me because it was dated to the 70s. So this was probably, like, very expected in the time. Maybe.
I also think I'm looking through specifically my thoughts about the music, because I have some thoughts about the music, but I'm realizing I have only ever known Barbra Streisand in a musical theater lens. I have not known her in a lens of being a pop star, of being a singer exclusively. So there were moments where I was like, oh, this is like, well, you're talking about how she can holler, and yes, she can. But I've only known her to holler in the context of musical theater. Yeah. And I forget that she had a whole other, like, singing career.
Yeah, absolutely. Shall we do a little dramaturgy?
Dramaturgy report! Dramaturgy report! Okay. So we have not seen this director before. This was directed by Frank Romer Pearson, who was an American screenwriter and film director, which was interesting because he also worked on the screenplay for this film. Obviously, it was coming from existing material, so it was more of like adapting a screenplay or writing like a screenplay inspired by it. We also know him, or you would know him. He wrote or co-wrote several successful films, including Cat Ballou and Cool Hand Luke, which I've heard of, both of which were nominated for Oscars. He wrote Dog Day Afternoon. He very famously did not have a good experience working on this film with either Kris Kristofferson or Barbra Streisand.
I don't think anyone had a good time.
Part of the friction with him and Kris Kristofferson was that apparently Kris Kristofferson was in the army but didn't fight in Vietnam.
He went to Germany.
Yeah, and Pearson was a World War II vet and looked down on Kristofferson for not going to fight in Vietnam. And Kristofferson later said, "I was too drunk to give a shit on this film." But the director famously wrote a first-person account published in both New York and New West magazines before the release of this film of his fucking nightmare of an experience directing Barbra Streisand. He called her egocentric, manipulative, and a total control freak. She produced this film, so obviously she had more more influence on it, but needless to say, they never worked again together.
Nope.
The cinematographer was Robert Lee Surtees, who's an American cinematographer, won 3 Academy Awards for putting this film in contrast to the other films he worked on. So funny, because he did King Solomon's Mines, The Bad and the Beautiful, and the 1959 Ben-Hur.
Why is it that Ben-Hur shows up everywhere? How many people worked on Ben-Hur?
So many people worked on Ben-Hur because it was it's like Gone with the Wind,
you know,
or like Cleopatra, where like they truly had, it was a massive production. He also worked on The Graduate.
Dustin.
But he was really a sought after cinematographer because he was so versatile. Like he truly did everything. And he had a good reputation for being a stickler for like color control and exposure so that he could provide the lab with the best possible film quality. Mm-hmm. We're going to see him again because he also did the 1969 Sweet Charity and the 1955 Oklahoma.
Oh, Sweet Charity's so bad.
So we'll see him again.
I loved it. Sweet Charity's crazy.
All right,
it's a wild show.
Finally, speaking of editing, so the editor was Peter Zinner, an Austrian-American film editor. So what's interesting is he first was a sound editor, like almost 15 years worth of uncredited work as a film editor, as an assistant sound editor, in addition to over 50 films credited. He worked on The Godfather, The Godfather Part 2, The Hunt for Red October. So, but
hey man, they can't all be winners. So but he got a lot of winners.
Before he was an editor, he was an assistant sound and music editor. Again, a lot of it uncredited. He worked with some amazing composers, and he also worked on films like Singin' in the Rain, The Bandwagon, and then Gene Kelly's experimental Invitation to Dance from '56. But anyway, he was nominated for an Oscar for Best Film Editing thrice for The Godfather, The Deer Hunter, and An Officer and Gentleman.
Wow.
So clearly he knows what he's doing, and the editing style was intentional, and I think it was just a thing of the time.
Yeah. I mean, because, like, if you look at, like, Kubrick movies of the era, it's that same sort of really slow pacing. So I wonder if that's just a thing from that era. I just don't know 70s movies
If I was the editor, this film would have been under 2 hours.
Yes, 100%. 145 easy.
Anyway, that's my director, cinematographer, editor.
One of the writers was Joan Didion. So
get fucked. Joan Didion, what are you doing
What are you doing here? So Joan Didion, I'm just gonna give like a real quick like overview of her just because she is an incredible human, and has done so much. And I did not expect to see her name on this. I was genuinely shocked. So, American writer and journalist, considered one of the pioneers of new journalism. Her career began in the 50s, and she went on to publish essays in the Saturday Evening Post, the National Review, the New York Review of Books, the New Yorker. Her writing during the 60s through the 70s was about the counterculture of the 1960s, about Hollywood lifestyles and the culture of California, and then really got into political writing in the 80s and 90s, especially with U.S. foreign policy in Latin America. She also wrote a bunch of screenplays with her husband, John Gregory Dunn. So they did Panic in Needle Park, they did A Star is Born, Up Close and Personal. She ended up winning the National Book Award for Nonfiction, and was a finalist for National Book Critics Circle Award and the Pulitzer Prize, which is a memoir, her life following the death of her husband. And then that was adapted into a play in 2007. She also has like she was profiled in like a Netflix documentary. Like, she has her own whole life story, and I was not expecting to see her name when I looked up who wrote this script. She ended up passing quite recently in 2021, around Christmas. But
yeah, I was gonna say, I couldn't have predicted I would get a biography
just
synopsis of Joan
a
Didion
really
when I started
quick
this movie.
It's truly just so quick, because there's so much more about her, but I just I just had to mention her. One thing that I did want to talk about with the screenplay is one of the biggest differences is the ambiguity of John's death. Because this was
the
like
open-endedness of it.
Yeah, because what it is like he starts speeding. We've obviously seen him drinking. He's listening to one of her songs, and then he drives over this hill, and then we don't see him again. And then there's just a crash. And so it's unclear whether this crash was accidental or intentional. In both previous versions of A Star Is Born, I believe that it was very intentional. Like, we didn't watch the first one, but in the Judy Garland one, he walks into the ocean. It is an intentional moment of him.
It's very intentional.
Yeah. And they ended up filming two different endings with this. One where it was a clear suicide, and one that it was a bit more ambiguous. And one of the producers fought really hard to keep it ambiguous. They suggested playing different endings in different areas, but they ended up sticking with the ambiguous ending because this one producer was really hardcore about not having it be a straight out suicide. So I thought that was really interesting. For the actors and casting, originally, and Anna mentioned this a little bit briefly, they originally wanted Elvis Presley for this, which I thought would have been very interesting.
They being Barbra and her then husband who co-produced it.
Yes. And he was interested in taking the part. Now, he hadn't had an acting role since 1969, so it had been about 5-ish
10 years.
75?
Wait, 5. I can't count.
What is
76.
math?
You're right.
And so they weren't super sure how much his name would actually be a draw at the box office. Now, he was still selling out, like, stadiums for him, like, for his music performances, but in terms of, like, film, they weren't super sure. And his manager, Tom Parker, was, like, insisting he had top billing, insisting for a massive amount of money, and he was being so aggressive about it, and he was pissed because Barbra went straight to Elvis and was like, I want you to do this, and didn't go through his manager, and that really pissed him off. And so I think part of it was also that he got a little bit offended that he got, like, worked around, and so threw up all of these barriers, and it eventually that fell apart. The other two big people that they were considering were Neil Diamond and Marlon Brando, both who I think would have been very interesting. Neil Diamond almost said yes, because he went to high school with Barbra Streisand, which is crazy. But he had so many concerts. There was just no way that he actually, like, would have been able to do that. So it ended up going to Kris Kristofferson. So I'm going to talk a little bit about him. And I'm going to skip around a lot because truly I was reading through his biography and I was like, holy shit, this man has done a lot. He is a music guy through and through. Like, he did films, but, like, his main passion very obviously was music. So, he was a pioneering figure in specifically outlaw country in the 1970s and was very interested in sort of a raw style, which does show in his songs here. We'll talk about, like, the singing and no dancing, but the singing of this. But he had, like, quite a gravelly voice, which sort of, I think, matched the less polished singers of the 60s and 70s, which had a lot of character, but maybe not a lot of, like, range. I don't know if that's the right way to say it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Lack of range, they use their grit.
Yeah, a lot of grit. And
what they lacked in range.
Yeah. But, like, very charismatic and, like, a very, like, tells a story with, like, a Tom Waits kind of is what I think of, where it's just, like, very specific, not a huge range, but, like, very magnetic. Anyway, so he moved around a lot as a kid because his dad was in the military, but they ended up settling in California. And he went to Pomona College in California as a literature major. He actually wanted to be an author for a really long time. He studied under Sontag, which he considered to be a huge influence in his life, and he ended up appearing in the March issue of Sports Illustrated for his achievements in collegiate rugby union and track and field. So he was Mr. March, and he and his classmates revived the rugby club, and it remains an institution to this day. He graduated in 1958. He had a Bachelor Arts degree, summa cum laude, in literature. In 1958, he was also awarded a Rhodes Scholarship to Oxford. So he studied at Merton College, and he was performing his songs there as well as he was studying literature. And he signed with Larry Parnes, who was selling him off as, like, a Yank at Oxford to the British public of, like, this this American star coming over to perform in the late 50s, early 60s. He was fine with this as long as it helped his singing career, which he wanted to then turn his singing career to progress him towards his goal of being a novelist. Like, it's like he fell backwards into this. In 1961, though, he joined the Army, because, again, his dad was also in the Army, and he was commissioned as a second lieutenant. He was posted in Germany, and during that time, he was promoted to the rank of captain, and he resumed his music career. So he was performing with a band to play at service clubs to other enlisted men. In 1965, while he was on a 2-week leave, he decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to be done with this, and I'm going to be a country music songwriter. So he resigned from the Army and relocated to Nashville, and he ended up signing with publishing house Buckhorn Music, and they ended up pitching his song Talkin' Vietnam Blues to singer Dave Dudley. So he was much more of a songwriter than he was a singer to start. Kind of in the Ed Sheeran way, where he started off, it's like, no, I just write the music, and then he himself became popular in his own right. But he wasn't making enough to, like, completely only be a singer. So he was also working at Petroleum Helicopters International, basically flying workers to and from oil rigs while he was writing songs. And then on weekends, he would go to Nashville and then try and pitch his songs to different places there, and then fly back to Louisiana to fly people to and from oil rigs. He was traveling a lot. And also, though, he was drinking during this. So he also suffered from alcoholism. But he got, like, I think he got laid off by the company because they're like, dude, you can't be flying helicopters while you're drunk.
You can't be flying helicopters when you're drunk.
You can't. You simply
can't. Rule number 1 of flying helicopters.
Rule 1. But at that same week, he found that 3 of his songs had been taken and recorded: Jody and the Kid by Roy Jusky, Help Me Make It Through the Night by Jerry Lee Lewis, and Me and Bobby McGee by Roger Miller. So it was, like, kind of popping off. Then he met June Carter, who was the wife of Johnny Cash. So then
I was gonna say of John and Judy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So he then tried to pitch material to him, but it, like, got lost in a stack of things, kind of like in this movie where it's like, I tried to call you, it's like, yeah, it has to go through 8 people to get to me. So his stuff got lost in the pile of things that got sent to Johnny Cash. And so, very much like in this movie, to attract his attention, he landed a helicopter on his property. Crazy. So then,
you can't do that.
But it worked, because then he invited Kristofferson to a guitar pull party at his house and was super impressed by him. And then he was invited to perform with Johnny Cash at the '69 Newport Folk Festival. So it straight up worked. Crazy. So he
Listen, you missed all the shots you don't take, but that was a questionable
That
shot.
That was truly lobbing a grenade. So he ends up switching labels for a while, and he starts, but in this switch of the label, he realizes that he gets signed not as a songwriter, but as a recording artist, and he was super shocked by it. It was a 10-year contract that he signed, and they were just like, hey, you need to submit 10 records of you singing songs that you've written. And he's like, I actually have no recordings of me singing. Quote, I can't sing, I sound like a frog. So, in 1970, he made his debut performance as a singer in a bunch of places. And this is when I'm going to start skipping, because truly, he is just working from and singing from 1970 onwards. He ends up having a quick affair with Janis Joplin right before she ends up passing, and then his second album is kind of dedicated to her and like the moment that they shared together. So that one's called The Silver-Tongued Devil and I. He collaborated a lot with Willie Nelson. They ended up becoming quite close. He also worked with Dolly Parton a lot. Through the 80s, Willie Nelson and Kristofferson worked together. They added Waylon Jennings and Johnny Cash to form the supergroup The Highwaymen. And it was a huge success, of course, those four names together. And then he kind of moved into film in the 80s and 90s and did a lot of stuff. So their music appeared in like Lone Star. He appeared in all of the Blade movies. Blade 2, Blade Trinity. He was in A Soldier's Daughter Never Cries, Fire Down Below. He was in the remake of Planet of the Apes, Payback, The Jacket. Like, he was in a bunch of movies. It was like as he was no longer getting a huge audiences in his singing career, he started moving to film. But he was inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 1985, and he was in the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame as well in 1977. He ended up retiring in 2021, like around the COVID pandemic. He had a house in Hawaii, and he ended up passing there in 2024, September, so quite recently at the age of 88. And just wanted to read this as his final thing. He had requested for the first 3 lines of Leonard Cohen's Bird on the Wire on his tombstone. Like a bird on the wire, like a drunk in a midnight choir, I have tried in my way to be free. So this is who this guy was. There is so much in there that I did not cover. So many collaborations. He was working so much and had so many people that he like collaborated with. Very incredible career. I truly skipped like the 70s, 80s, and 90s because at a certain point I was like,
because it was just
this is so much. But yes, so very interesting person.
Okay, so in terms of reviews, reception, and release, the reviews were fairly critical, but it wasn't enough to tank it. Like, this film made bank. Yeah. It had an $8 million budget. $6 million budget. It made $80 million. It was the second highest grossing film of the year behind Rocky. It was nominated for a bunch of awards and won, including a Grammy Award for Song of the Year and Oscar for Best Original Song for Evergreen. And then I pulled a couple reviews that are kind of in line with our criticism. Yeah. The Washington Post said the film should be retitled "A Star is Embalmed," or "A Star is Entombed," or simply "A Star is Lost." One loses sight of the ostensible dramatic tragedy because the real tragedy appears to be Streisand's misuse of her talent. The Los Angeles Times says the treatment of Streisand is so ceaselessly close up and reverential from the start that it really seems nowhere to go but further up. A half hour in, I wrote "A Star is Boring" in my notes and was not later persuaded that I'm wrong. Yeah, just kind of like ego service.
Yeah.
But anyway, hey, you know what? $80 million in 1976 is nothing to scoff at.
Exactly.
Do you want to talk about singing and dancing?
Yeah. I mean, well, we've talked a little bit about, I mean, it's Barbra and it's Kris. Yeah. Barbra, like I said, can holler. And it is nice to hear her
like
in a different
like how dare
genre.
I have notes.
Yeah. Truly incredible vocals. And with Kris, like I said, it felt like he had such a personality-driven voice as opposed to a vocals-driven voice. That there was one moment where they had like a quick duet,
a good way of putting it.
Which I think was evergreen.
Evergreen?
Yeah. It just wasn't about him, you know? Mm-mm. And it wasn't about his voice. And it was very stylized.
He was already like on his way out,
yeah.
So they didn't do a lot to like bump up his performance.
Well, and they chose a singer who is a songwriter first and foremost, as opposed to a singer who is a vocalist first and foremost.
Yeah. In terms of dancing, we didn't have any except for some like background singer shimmying.
We got a lot of stuff like step touch for the gods.
Step touches. Do you have any gripes? What are your gripes and giggles?
My gripe and giggle is the entire house building sequence. It makes no sense. You know what? No, I'm going to put that as my giggle, and then my gripe is the lack of logic from this dumbass Quentin.
Oh my god, Quentin. Fuck Quentin.
Fuck Quentin.
Quentin is a good gripe. My gripe was that, I guess, so I am not educated enough in the music of the 70s to make a super educated or informed opinion. However, immediately off the cuff, John and Esther's performance, vocal styles, singing styles were so vastly different that if I showed up to a John Howard concert, I'm expecting a performance by John Howard.
Yes.
And if a different singer style entirely was brought out on stage, I'm like, yeah, they're good, but that's not what I wanted to see. So kind of like the logic in that.
I think
they were very different vocally.
I think also, at least today, so many of our biggest concerts you like have outfits for that are planned for that artist. And I would be, if I planned for a Dolly outfit and then like someone else that's
Mick Jagger came out, or like someone who's not famous. Someone who's not famous came out and started singing like Adele. I would be very impressed, but I'd also be like, I'm in the wrong outfit for Adele. Yeah, like, you know what I mean? This is not what I bought tickets for.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, my giggle is the costumes being fully Barbra's.
So that is my fun fact, like specifically that the film. My fun fact. I said what I said. Is that specifically the film credit reads Miss Streisand's clothes from ... her closet. So funny.
Yep.
They're like, we do not take responsibility.
My single fun fact we actually have discussed, which is that evergreen scene was a live recording filmed in a single take, which is impressive.
Yes.
Like, regardless of whether I felt it was too long and we should have cut away from it, like...
Yes. And that is my homework, is evergreen.
Yeah. My homework is the New York Times article.
Send that to me.
We haven't talked about his moment of joy.
Oh! I think I don't know. It's hard, because this is not a happy ending, right? Like,
no.
And there's, like, just the small moment, I guess, of him waking her up before he leaves, but it's also sad because we all know what's about to happen. But just that moment of, like, the hug and the come back to bed and wait, I'll come with you. No, stay in bed. Well, I'll make you breakfast. You'll have breakfast waiting. It just felt very, like
it's very
intimate in, like, a soft way. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was just, like, a really quick moment, which is such a, like, a nice scene knowing what's about to happen.
Yeah. I think my moment of joy is the moment that you pointed out earlier, which is like, oh right, she can holler.
I think that's all she wrote. And of course we will be seeing this plot again once more in like another 2 years. I'm not gonna do it anytime soon. Truly.
Don't make me do them back to back to back.
It's been 2 years since we did the last one. It'll be another 2 years. It's just that we had a year off where we didn't do any episodes, almost exactly to the day, which I did notice the other day. So it will probably be another long while before we do the next one.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Now that I have seen all three.
Yeah.
If you're still with us, thank you so much for listening to this very silly podcast. Once again, we're two halves of one whole idiot. No one is paying us for this. We are not musical theater historians. Our opinions are our own. If you listen to this podcast, but you're not following us on the podcast platforms, what are you doing? Go give us a follow.
Give us a star.
I've been Anna.
I'm still Grace.
And take care of yourselves and others. Be kind. We love you so much. We'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
5, 6, 7, 8.
There's no business like show business, like no business I know.